Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. So I'm from BDITDomain. So as you can see the slide here, so we are experts in like personalized coaching for different IT technologies and networking opportunities. Then we also do resume refinement and interview preparation. So the current class, the series of this class is help everyone to learn about Selenium and Java by using multiple frameworks creation. This is all fully hands-on. And last class, we have discussed about the weights in Selenium. So today, the concept is about exception handling. So exception handling in Selenium, like how we will handle the exceptions, different exceptions. First of all, what is an exception and why we need to handle the exceptions? So we will learn that part first. So here you can see a lot of subtopics like what are the different types of exceptions, why try catch blocks, like how we will handle by using a try catch, we will handle the exceptions. And we have a different kinds of exceptions. That is where it is presented here. And we do have like specific exceptions for Selenium and specific exceptions for Java also. But today we are mostly concentrating on the Selenium exceptions. So first of all, what is an exception? So exception is something if during the execution, once we run our code, during the execution, due to some reason, due to some problem, that may be whatever the problem it is, that may be the syntax, that may be the code issues, or the flow issue, or the weight issue, or the locator issue. Maybe application is not loaded properly, or application is stuck and it is taking long time to load. Maybe due to any reason, if our particular code or step is failing, so there will be some exception behind it. Due to some exception, our code will fail. So if you get into the deeper level of exceptions understanding, we have a multiple exceptions in Selenium. So able to see my screen, I think. So we have a different types of exceptions in Selenium WebDriver. Element not visible exception, element not selectable exception, no such element exception, no such frame exception, no alert present exception. Likewise, we have a multiple exception, no such window, stale element reference exception. So we have a multiple exceptions here. Let me walk you through why actually these exceptions will come. So if you see element not visible exception, this is a type of exception when element is element is present in the web page, but it is actually it is hidden behind, it is hidden. Okay, the element is there in the DOM, but the feature is set as hidden. Then you will get element not visible exception. So usually these kind of exceptions will come. For example, if you see when you're booking any travel booking applications, if you take, when you're trying to book some services with them, some flight you're going to book. So what happens? The previous days, whatever the days is already passed, those days will be hidden. Those days will be hidden in the calendar. If you see, it will be hidden. For example, I'm going to register and personal details. This is a kind of a travel booking application. Not here in the buses. If I click on this date calendar, departure date calendar, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are hidden because those days are already passed. So you cannot book any service which is already passed, which is already done. So that's logical. But still those values are present, but those are set as a hidden. For example, today you have written a code and you are trying to select 7 and you have given it statically. You have provided the locator by using a 7 as a number. And what happens if tomorrow I'm executing the code, by then 7 is already hidden. So that time you will get a element not visible exception. And you have something called element not selectable exception. So this kind of exception will occur. This is also like DOM will carry that element, but we cannot able to select that particular option. So due to any reason, maybe it is got stuck and it needs, for example, and I'm going to address, see here what options will come, but until unless I enter the data here, it usually will not come, right? So once I enter the data, then only this particular drop down is giving the values. After I select here, then only this is giving a few more options. But if I'm not entering anything here, you will not get anything here actually. So it means that we have an options, but we could not able to select. So during that situations, element not selectable exception will come. Or you are passing a wrong visible text, or you are passing a wrong value or a wrong index. So during that time also, you will get element not selectable exception. And no such element exception will come. Basically, very usually we will get this no such element exception. This is because when our execution is going on, obviously our script is very fast in execution. And what happens while the execution is keep going on and the page is taking a little time to load. That is what happening when we are clicking on register and coming and entering the value in username. It is taking a little time. So by then we are getting a no such element exception, because the driver is came here and searching for the element, but the element by then is not loaded. Obviously the page is not loaded, DOM is also will not be get loaded. So what happens during that time? It will throw no such element exception. Likewise, we have so many other exceptions. No such frame exception. For example, frames generally start from index of 1. For example, you have 3 frames. So index of 0, 1, 2. This is how you have to give. For example, you want to get into first frame, you have to provide index of 0. Second frame means index of 1. Third frame means index of 2. But by confusion, you have given index of 3, but the frame is not present. So that time it shows, it gives us like a no such frame exception. No alert present exception. This is also same. When you click on some button, you are missing some values in the application, then you see the alert. But here what is happening? You're not doing that step. By mistake, you did not do that step. And you're trying to interact, switch to the alert. First of all, alert itself is not present. How can you switch to the alert? So during that situations, no alert present exception will come. Likewise, no such window also. You did not, for example, you have only parent window. You don't have any other window, but you're trying to navigate to the child window, but the child window is not present. So that time, no such window exception will come. Likewise, we have so many other exceptions here. Timeout exception. This is also one of the important exceptions. Timeout exception will come. For example, whatever the implicit or explicit or fluent weight we are giving, even though after utilizing the entire time, still the element is not visible or interactable, or we could not able to automate that particular web element, then we'll get timeout exception. Whatever time we have given, it is out, but still the execution did not happen. That step did not passed. Okay, that time we'll get timeout exception. And one more important exception we must discuss is WebDriver exception. WebDriver exception, we also call it as a super exception here. Like whatever the exceptions we have seen, that may or may not catch, but definitely WebDriver exception will catch hold. See, exception we will use for 2 different advantages, mainly 2 different advantages. One is, you know what is the problem with that step. You know why that step is failing, because we are handling the exception. So some or other exception which will catch hold and it will throw, due to this exception, your step is failed. So when we know what is the reason, we can able to fix that issue. So that is one advantage. Comes to the second advantage. when you want to peacefully execute a bunch of test cases, maybe it is 100 or a 50 or a 200, something like that. When you are trying to execute in a single stretch, for example, take 50 test cases, you want to execute in a single stretch. Some or other element, one or other time will give a issue. So again, you have to run from starting, and that is not really reliable. So obviously, we cannot run the full 1 to 50 test cases one stretch at all, and it will take a lot of time to achieve that, because as I said, you cannot predict how the application is going to react sometimes, because it takes long time. Even though whatever the weight amount we have given, the amount of weight we are giving, so it may sometimes take more than that also. So during the time as well, it will fail. So for example, it stops in 15th test case, the other remaining test cases will not get executed. So then when we can finish all the 50 test cases, of course, here and there, the test cases will fail, but still that should not stop your execution. You must know what is the reason, the particular step which is causing the execution interruption, and still it should not interrupt it there itself, and it should just give you the data or log saying that this is the reason it is failed, and it should continue with the next step, so that 1 to 50 peacefully it will execute. Of course, few here and there the test cases will fail. So those test cases alone, maybe 3 or 4 test cases will come. So that will come into the suit. You will be verifying why it is failing, and you alone run those failed test cases. So this is actually a feasible way. So this exception handling will help us to continue our execution, and it will also give us the what is a problem, what is the issue, the step is failed. Okay, and we do have assertions also. The assertions also help us to continue our execution, and this is also one of the important concepts. So let me open Eclipse. So till now we understood what is an exception, what are the different kinds of exceptions we have, and what is the importance of exception also we have seen. And as I said, WebDriver exception is a super exception. Once you handle, before to this, whatever the exceptions will come, once you handle all of them, then you must handle WebDriver exception. Why? Because as I said, it should not get interrupted. Just a second. Yeah, so let us implement the exception handling here. For example, if I run this code, I'm getting an exception in the username because it is slow. So I'm trying to handle the exceptions here. I will be keeping the code which I want to execute in the try block. And in the catch block, I'm going to handle the exceptions. So first I'm giving no such element exception. No such element exception. And I'm just giving a sysout statement. Generally, we won't do this, but as of now, we are going with this one. But going forward in the framework level creation, we will be generating the reporting also. So I'm giving due to no such element exception. Username field is not entered with the given value. So I just give the proper explanation about it so that, when you see that log, you will understand what is happening. Next, another catch block. I'm handling what are the possible exceptions. So this will come, and we do have no element, no such element, and element not visible also will come. Likewise, what are the exceptions may come, we will be handling all of them. Due to element not, stop this and passing this. Okay, likewise, one more, like we can handle multiple exceptions. Multiple catch blocks can be used followed by one single try block. So another, but here if you have to remember, only one block, one catch block only will execute. One catch block only will get execute. So another catch block. As I said, super exception we have, which is a WebDriver exception. I'm handling the WebDriver exception also. But WebDriver's exception, we don't know exactly what happens. So that's the reason I'm giving some unknown reason are due to WebDriver exception. We have to import this due to WebDriver exception. Username field did not enter the value. Done. So I'm running the code. I'm saving it, executing the code. Actually, after username, only the close is I have written. If my username is not entered with the value due to any exception, it will not close the window. Actually, it will not go to next step at all. But as I handle the exceptions here, so it will definitely go to the close and it will close the window. It will return the exception and it will close the window. See, now it should not supposed to close, but as I handle the exceptions, it is going to next step. Actually, if this step is not executed, our execution stops here itself. It will not even go to 44 line or 45th line. It won't execute these two. But as I have given a exception handling, it is handling the exception and it is returning what it is returning due to WebDriver exception. Username field is not entered with the given value. So that is the reason it is failed, but still my execution is continued. So this is the use of exception exception handling, and you can see the different exceptions we have in this screenshot. You can take a screenshot also, or you can go through the video. You will be understanding better. And thank you for your time and thanks for watching this full video. And if you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box. I will be clearing those doubts. We'll be actually replying to the questions. Thank you.